Hello everyone, welcome to another disused railway walk and colliery explore. I'm in Kings Clipstone, which is a village in Nottinghamshire. I'm going to start the walk at what was Clipstone Junction. That attaches onto what is now the High Marnham test track. That's active, so I ain't going anywhere near that. Don't mess with active trains. I'm going to walk the Clipstone Colliery branch through Clipstone Sidings, or Mansfield concentration sidings as some people refer to them as, all the way to Clipstone Colliery and those incredible headstocks. You see those blue lines? The one that goes from left to right or right to left, that's the High Marnham test track now. And you can see that little triangle, that's where we're starting today's walk. We're going to come all the way down until you see those sidings, those blue lines appear. That's the Clipstone sidings, or the Mansfield concentration sidings. Then beyond that, we'll follow it round as it arcs into the site of Clipstone Colliery. So this is as far as you can go on this. Through there, you can see the signals, I think, in the distance maybe. You've got that High Marnham test track, goes up to Shirebrook and down towards Newark Way. We're not going anywhere near that, obviously. But there's remains left, right and centre. As soon as you get on to the track bed, and as you can see, plenty of ballast as well. Now normally, on these explores, you sort of know where you're going, but you're also trying to follow old maps and stuff like that to kind of have a bit of a clue, make sure you don't make a wrong turn or whatever. That's not really an issue on this one, and I'll show you why. The size of those headstocks. So that's where I'm going. So to be honest, if I get lost and miss them, do you know what I mean? I want shooting. Okay. It's pretty wide here. Now the sidings haven't started yet, but there's going to be 2 or 3 at least tracks there, isn't there? And let's have a look. Have we got that blue engineering brick, Great Central? Of course we have. And some fly tipping as well. As I said, that village is called Kings Clipstone. There's a reason for that. You can just see some walls. That, from a distance, kind of looks like a, like I said, a farmer's barn, that's, a couple of 100 years old. That was actually a royal palace, a medieval royal residence. Is known as King John's Palace, but actually King John, who's obviously synonymous with Nottinghamshire, apparently only stayed there for 9 days, so I'm not sure how he's got it named after him. Here we go. Look at that. So the other side, you've got some old signal posts, those up and down ones. I prefer them, I've got to say. But it's nice to see some modern stuff as well, although I think people have had a go at smashing that up. To be honest, I'm surprised no one's nicked it. So Clipstone Colliery opened in 1922, which is pretty late to the party, but immediately it was churning out some serious amounts of coal, and in 1 year it did 1 million tons. I think it was about 1956, it did about 1 million tons, which is, that's monopoly figures, isn't it? It's just mad. I can get my head around how much that is. Now, this whole area is all a bunch of different collieries. You've got, off this branch, you can get to Rufford, which we explored the other week. You can get to Blidderth, which we had a look around the other week as well. You can get to Billsthorpe. Obviously you get to Clipstone. Carry on this line all the way through Mansfield Colliery as well. And the reason why that's called the High Marnham test track, is that served High Marnham power station, which when it opened in the 1960s was turning out the largest amount of electricity in Europe. And how it was doing that was it was being fed by 17 collieries, these ones being some of them, and it was burning 10,000 tons of coal every single day. Again, that's just silly figures, isn't it? How do you even work that out in your head? And that's what kept Clipstone Colliery going all the way until 2003. So it had a, you know, it came late, but it survived pretty late as well. A lot of the collieries went in the 80s, obviously famously, you know, with the miners' strikes and stuff in Nottinghamshire. But a lot of them also went in the 60s. You know, Margaret Thatcher gets the blame for a lot of them. And, you know, I'm not a huge fan. But actually the Labour Party of the 60s got rid of a lot of the collieries. So it just goes to show it doesn't matter who you vote for. And we've got more infrastructure. Now this is the start, basically, of the sidings. The main, you know, trunk of the line goes straight through there, as you can see it. But there were some sidings up on the top there, and then a huge array of sidings. As you can see there, look, that would have had a light on it. Because in my head, I'm thinking, well, obviously they've got lighting all the way down this you know, area of sidings. So were they shunting at night? But thinking about it, in the winter, I mean, it's dark by 4 p.m. So actually they would have needed some form of illumination so they could see what they were doing. And I think we've got some sleepers. There we go. Ow! Oh, yep, and a sting as well. So, do you know what I mean? True to form. There we go, look. Sleepers just lying around. Wooden ones as well. And there's another one of those light posts. This Great Central line that we're trekking on now, it obviously calls in at all these collieries and stuff like that. There's little branches spurring off left, right and centre. But it also carried on. It went all the way through Mansfield and eventually joined up with the Great Central main line just on the edge of Kirkby and Ashfield. See, Phil and myself did a couple of big explores around Kirkby. That is like railway central. It's basically like Spaghetti Junction, trying to work out what on earth's going on. So here we go, some sleepers. That one, that light post, giving up the ghost look. I'm done. It's actually just been chopped down, but look at that. So that looks like a plate layer's hut. So these are big, long sleepers. These are going to be off points, these are then. Do you know what I find mad? Is actually the most detailed maps that I am able to find tend to be from like 1914. And actually the ones from the 50s, 60s, all the way up into the 70s, they're a lot less detail, which is annoying. Some concrete sleepers lined up there. See here, it looks like trees being chopped down, but look, there's more. There would have been more lighting posts around the edge. I don't know why they'd be cutting them down. But yeah, so in terms of the detail on the maps and stuff, obviously this line wasn't built till later on. So actually when I look at those more detailed like 1914 maps, it doesn't show up on them obviously. So I've kind of got to make do with the later ones, and they're not as good. More sleepers lying around. Some buried. Pretty big site, you can see, because this is just one side of it. So you got all the sidings that side, and then there's the through line. And then up there as well, there was about another 3 or 4 lines that went to a series of buffer stops at the end there. I'm coming off of that track bed, because as much as I love finding ballast, I hate walking on it, because it's dead uncomfortable. At least this bit, where this bit was taken away in 86, there's no ballast here really, it's all just kind of quite soft mud. I mean, you've got to go seriously out your way to get here to chuck tyres. It seems quite odd that you would have such a vast area of sidings basically in the middle of nowhere. But actually, because all the different collieries fed into this line, so I'm guessing this was just, you know, maybe just a place to organise it, to concentrate it, I guess, before sending it off far and wide originally, and then in the end pretty much just the power station. I'm not sure what this is, but it looks railway infrastructure. So maybe, is that a ground frame? I mean, it weighs an absolute ton, so that's not been dumped here. That's, you know, that is related to the railway. I have spotted something. There's Clipstone Colliery, look. In the not so distance. These buildings here by those power lines, I think they're colliery related as well. Yeah, what's going on here? Ah, so this is the road access then. So that would have been how the workers got in to the sidings, and that was a big water tower. I'm assuming from the steam days. So obviously in the end it was all diesels around here, but originally when the Great Central open, oh mate, it was steam. So those steam engines that would have been doing all the shunting, they're thirsty, them things. So this is a hell of a building. So look at that. Now it would have had, I'm assuming, a big water tank on the top. So you can see the steel there, that would have had a big water tank on the top of that. I'm not sure what would have been inside here, to be honest. What's in here? Fires. Lots of fires and graffiti. But it's quite a big structure actually, just to be kind of left to rot. I'm hoping it's not left to rot and actually, you know, it's left for future generations. Because as much as people might think, you know, well, it's just a pile of bricks, it's not doing anything. It's history, isn't it? It's heritage, it's important. And we are just destroying so much of it. Well, not me, I'm not, do you know what I mean? I'm not destroying any of it, but people, the government, councils are just destroying so much of our heritage. It's heartbreaking, some of it. Oh, hang on. Tiles. Are these showers then? These might have been a bit of a shower block for the railway workers then. I don't see why you'd have a tiled floor like that. That's do you know what I mean? That's toilet or shower block, isn't it? So probably toilets, to be fair. And it's set back into the bank. Look at that, yeah. I reckon that's toilets. And what are these over here? There's more structures there. I'm not sure what they are. There's a street lamp. That's a water tank, looking at it. Look at the indentation on it. That's a water tank on there. So maybe there was no plumbing here, so that's how they got the fresh water to you know, wash your hands when you've had a wee. To be fair, it could have been a gas tank as well, couldn't it? Actually, to, you know, power the place. Answers on a postcard. If you used to work here or you know the answer to that, please let us know. There's a bit embedded here, look. You can see 5 of them embedded. And you can tell by the colour, look, you know, this is a colliery siding. So I'm going to stomp on now, back onto the track bed, onto that noisy ballast, and all the way back to Clipstone. It's not too far. It's funny though, because if you look at the map, you see where the tracks go. You would imagine you could go straight out of Clipstone to here, but you can't. So they must have had to do some kind of shunting manoeuvre, because actually the line goes past Clipstone before then coming back on yourself, and it comes back on itself twice. There's a couple of different entrances to Clipstone Colliery, and when we get there to the edge of it, you can see the 2 lines next to each other, and the bridges are there, the blue brick as usual. There's another, what would have been a lamppost, had his head cut off. As you can see, we've got to go round and then come back on ourselves, like I was saying, so you can't, you know, just go straight across, but they look incredible. So iconic, them. The idea that you would just tear them down is honestly, it's over my head, that idea. Just the fact that anyone even contemplates that, it's just, whatever, it's mad. Anyway, the reason they're so iconic basically is obviously the height of them, the size of them. And when they were built in 1953, they were the tallest in Europe. And the reason they're so big is they were going down nearly, not far off, 1,000 metres. So I think it's about 920 metres the seam that they were exploring, which is why they built those headstocks in the 50s to be able to facilitate that. And I tell you what, it makes it so much easier, because when you're making videos like this, without some of the old footage and stuff, it basically is just a plonker walking around in the countryside, isn't it? But that old footage and stuff, and the old photos and the old videos, they bring it to life. It's mad. Like, you've got all these collieries all around here. You've got beaver coats as well, just over, not too far from here. And then you've got Thoresby, again, not so far. That was the last one, that was the last survivor. That went in 2015. I think it's a housing estate now. And it's crazy, like, you look at Nottinghamshire, you look at these towns and these villages, like, their sole identity would have been coal mining. Like, all the blokes in the village, pretty much, would have worked at the colliery. So everyone's a colliery family. It's everyone's identity. And then you've got, you know, the miners' welfares all over the shop. And then all of a sudden it's just taken away, one after the other, gone. And now there's nothing, and you think a whole county, basically, a whole county's identity has just been stripped away. Is that a signal post? I guess it probably could be, to be fair, because we're not far off the junction. I think spring is definitely here. I've just been watching a squirrel legging it. I've seen a bunch of rabbits, squirrels, birds. Normally I like the sound of birds, but these ones seem to be scrapping, which is sort of, do you know what I mean? It's a less enjoyable sound, that. But the sun is shining, it's beautiful. Now, if you look here, you would think, there you go, you could go into the colliery there. But you couldn't. And there's some things going off there, to be fair. Not sure what these are. Hang on, is this another toilet? There you go, you can just see the headstocks through there. And there's something else going on here. So there you go, tiles again. Oh, I'm not sure what that is around the edge. That's interesting, they've all been cut off. Maybe it's a fencing around what though, I don't know. Normally you get fencing like that around, like, do you know what I mean, something like with electricity within it, but I don't know why you'd have a tiled floor in that. So that's what I mean, like earlier, they would have had to have done some shunting. Or maybe just come past it and then just reversed into the colliery site, I don't know. Although maybe towards the end, like if you see some of the photos of the old colliery trains from like the 80s, they're double-headed, aren't they, a lot of them? You'll have a locomotive at the front and at the back, so maybe that's how they've done it. So, if you were to go straight on, you would eventually hit Mansfield. You'd hit Mansfield Colliery, which is now an industrial estate, as you know, they so often are. But you'd hit Mansfield, and actually, I did that walk, one of the first ones I ever did actually, from the site of Mansfield Colliery round here and into Clipstone. So now I'm basically just coming in from the, oh mate, coming in from the other direction. I'll move that out of the way. Oh mate, okay. So I'll follow this line in till we get close enough that you can see the colliery, and then the colliery itself is actually all fenced off. But obviously, you know, the drone footage looks amazing. Oh mate, we've got another railway graveyard. Look at this. That's up there with New Hucknall Sidings, isn't it, in terms of just the fallen sleepers. And by the look of that there, yeah, it looks like there's some kind of signal post in that pile as well. See that tree line there? That's the other line coming off. Loads going off. When you look at the old maps of the tracks around here, it's like you're giving a kid a crayon. So what I'll do, stomp forward, get a view of the colliery, and then jump back across, and underneath that there's actually a little tunnel that goes underneath it. I think it's long enough to be called a tunnel. Now, here we go, end of the line. But if you look at these fields, I mean, to be fair, they look like you could play football on it, but it was all railway tracks, all of this site. And you had the lines coming in off of here, coming in off of here, and then going off there. So where those buildings are there, all railway in there, all around here there was a big giant loop of tracks, and now you look at it, I mean, that's an amazing building. That's still standing. 1922 to 2003. But hopefully, you know, they'll repurpose it and it will live on. I did see some plans to turn it into some kind of leisure complex or something. I mean, the building itself is vast. You know, you could have a sports centre in there, you could have a swimming pool and a gym and all that kinds of stuff. That would be great. Just keep it alive, you know. I mean, well, one, because those sort of facilities are great for the locals anyway, but also it saves the building and it saves the history. You could even have an area of it which is like a museum, do you know what I mean, to the mining in Clipstone. Because if you've ever seen the former London Road station in Nottingham, the low level station, that's a Virgin Active now, a gym. And I used to work for Virgin many years ago, and they really have done a great job of staying true to the history of the building. And you climb out the swimming pool basically onto the platform, and it's got the platforms like brickwork and stuff. It's amazing. They could do something like that here. That would be great if they did. Right, I'm going to film myself coming down here because this is mental. Right. I'll tell you what, if I get this wrong, I'm in all kinds of trouble, aren't I? Right. I'm laughing, but there is a bit of fear. Well, that's not too bad actually. Nah, it's alright. Although the mud is moving quite a lot underneath me. The days of the inappropriate trainers are over. They've come to an end. There's a culvert. There you go, Steve. Let's explore. I'm going to dedicate every culvert to you now, mate. Since our walk around Leicestershire together. There you go, look. Engineering brick, beautiful. It's quite quirky, isn't it? I actually thought that was cracked then at first glance, but no, it's just it's designed like that. Comes out. And the same the other side, look. Okay. And through we go. It's like a near-death experience, isn't it? Not that I know, thankfully. Anyway, that's me. That was just a short little stomp from Clipstone Junction down the Clipstone Colliery branch through those sidings, the Mansfield concentration sidings, and to the site of Clipstone Colliery. And it looks like someone with an enormous gold hand has been buried, and he's got his hand coming out, and behind that the headstocks, the beautiful headstocks of Clipstone Colliery. As always, thanks so much. Oh, now I've got to negotiate this. I'll see you next time. Here we go. See you later.